Hello beautiful souls, this is Vanita Kumar, also known as Twinflameunion, bringing you guys in this week's pep talk and empowerment how to cope over loved ones passing away. This could be your parents, this could be your siblings, this could be a friend that was very dear to you, or it could very well be your twin flame. Some people in the community have lost their twin flame, and there are not too much information over this particular scenario of collectives. So I try to support as much as I can with the best of my ability. In this video, you're going to get some sort of ways to learn how to cope with it. And lastly, this is not any different even if you are dealing with a loss of a pet. I personally have been dealing with this for the last 5 months, where I have lost my dear beloved cat. She did come in the in some of the videos in my YouTube. So she was a very big part of my life, and it took me 5 months to actually film something like this that was so excruciating as I was dealing with my own loss. But here I am. I'm gonna do my best to make justice to this very important topic. I feel that everybody in their life have lost somebody very, very dear to them, and how we cope up with something like this. We're gonna dive deep into this topic, but before we actually do, let's hit it. And welcome back. For those that are new to this channel, welcome. Please do not forget to hit like, share and subscribe, as well as hit the notification bell so that you do not miss any future videos. I have tons of videos that are uploaded in the pep talk and empowerment series. You can take a look at those topics, and also there's tons of signs and things that I have actually recorded. There's some more that I'm actually channeling. One more is going to come pretty soon. It's probably going to be geared for next month. We are already filming this at the end of February. One more guided meditation that I already have started to film, so that's going to air sometime in March. As well as you can check out my timeless readings. They are timeless, so you can go back to any of my readings whenever you feel like. Of course, my guided meditations as well, you can do them as many times as you feel in order to aid in your healing. For those that do want to book a private sessions with me, you can do so as well. Link is in the description box. You can purchase and book directly on my website. And I also want to add that 10% off Twinflameunion sales also go to charity. So all of that information is also in my website, along with 80 plus blogs that will aid you in your healing. And speaking of blogs, I did expand on this topic on one of my blogs after I actually dealt with my cat passing away. She was my companion. She was my everything for 16 years and 3 months, and she passed away at 16 years and 5 months. It was something that I wasn't expecting. I thought that I had a couple more years with her, so I wasn't in that frame of mind to part with her so suddenly. But there was nothing that I could do. I tried everything in my power to help her. She got a little bit sick, but then it just started to spiral down, where her health started declining and her internal organs were just starting to fail. I thought that she could come out of it, because in 2017 she had gone through something very similar, and she revived out of that. But she was 5 years younger, and of course in pet lives, they don't you can't count the way that they are in human life. She was a senior cat. She passed away in human life. You would call it about 85, around that age. So she was at that stage where it had to happen, and it's not something that nobody wants to deal with, is people that they love to pass away. The reason why being, it's of course it is written that everybody that has birth here, they have to pass away at some point, but psychologically and mentally, sometimes or even emotionally, we are not ready to pass away, or to part, I should say, with them passing away. So how do you cope with something like this? There is some directions that I'm gonna go over in this topic on how to cope with it. And of course, nobody in this planet Earth can tell you that one grief is more excruciating than the other. Whether this is a grief of a pet, it could be a grief of a friend or a parent or a sibling, or even a colleague or somebody that was very dear to you. It could even be a celebrity. We also get attached to certain celebrities. I can only think of two that I have always mourned on, and it was such a loss for me personally. One of them was Princess Diana. I absolutely loved her. I grew up with her, idolizing her, and of course, she had. I have books on her, and I watched everything that was there, that was on social media regarding her. So when in 1997 or 98, I think she passed away, and that was a very, very hard time for me to take in that. So sometimes even celebrities, or somebody famous that you idolize, or somebody that you absolutely loved, they pass away all of a sudden. It comes as a shock, and it is what it is. Another person that was very, very significant to my twin flame journey was Chadwick. He was acting as the Black Panther, and I just recently watched the part 2 of it, and of course I missed Chadwick. Marvel did do a tribute to him, but I found that something was missing. Definitely it was missing him, and I didn't care for Black Panther 2. I didn't think that it was well made. That was just my opinion. I loved Black Panther 1, and I was really, really drawn to even their soundtrack, and I didn't understand why until the next year, the following year, when I actually met my twin flame. And it all tied up into my journey, and he was a true hero in every sense of way. I didn't know that he was battling cancer even during the time when he was filming for Black Panther. So, and then of course there was few times when throughout the Marvel series he did come in with the rest of the Marvel characters. So all the time, just simply know, if you didn't know, that he was still dealing with his cancer. And of course Marvel said that they didn't even know that he was dealing with something that excruciating. So for him to pretend that all was well, and he was doing all these movies to give us some memories of him, which will last us a lifetime, and to just know that he was going through all that, through inner battle, and still being able to entertain us in a very very profound way. So yeah, and there's many celebrities that are like that, or many people, iconic people that we believe have inspired us in some way or shape or form. So death is part of life, and unfortunately that is something that nobody has a control over, but it does still leave us a hollow feeling in our heart when we are dealing with something or somebody that did pass away, and we're trying to figure out what to make of things. So yeah, having said that, this was just sort of a general idea where this topic is going. Stay tuned to what I'm going to be suggesting and how to cope with it. And of course, I would love to hear anybody that wants to share anything in the comments section. Do that, because it's something that I think everybody has gone through. Just from the time that I had lost my cat, I went very public about it because I had to do my own healing, and there were people that were coming forward and just giving me stories about their beloved that they had passed away. I know that so many of my clients, their twin flame has passed away, so and they're trying to cope with life without them, and it's not easy, it never is. And there's going to be a lot of times when people will tell you that they will undermine the importance of this person, whether it was a pet or somebody that you thought was amazing. Your family or your friends will not understand the same type of grief process that you're going through, and that is okay. It's not in their place to do so. You have to give it time, and the saying that time heals all wounds is exactly what it is. During that time when I had lost my little girl, I also had a friend, her husband passed away as well, and his was a very short time. It was I believe from the time he was diagnosed at stage 4, he passed away a month later. So I had to go while I was still grieving with my own things. My wounds were still raw. I still had to go and just see him and spend some time with him, that sort of thing. He was very dear to me as well, and I knew that I had very little time as I knew that he was passing away, I had very little time to catch up with him. And I'm glad that I did catch up with him and spend some time with him and saw him, that kind of stuff. So, and of course I still think about him because we knew each other. I was friends with my friend for about a little bit over 10 years now. So, and he was a big part of our social gathering and stuff like that. I used to hang out with them all the time. So now I'm going to be missing him as well. So these kind of things kind of play in factor, right? It's not always just relatives or your parents or your sibling that's gonna hit you. It's gonna be just about anything or anybody that can hit you on this bereavement part, so, or the grief loss. So yeah, if people don't understand, I just want to point that out, that if people do not understand what you're going through, they don't have to. It's your process. You have to figure it out. You have to figure out how life will move along without them. And that's the word that you need to just allow it to sink in, is how to go on with your life without them. And yeah, so we already dove into some of the aspects of, I made notes here, so just bear with me, on people such as parents, siblings, friends, pets, your twin flame, all of those, even celebrities. We already went through who these could be, and I'm pretty sure that if you're watching this video, I can almost guarantee that you've lost somebody very dear to you as well. And one of the things that I mentioned in my blog, like I said, I had written on my blog pretty much right away, because all those emotions were very, very fresh in my mind, and it was just something that I was coping with. It was easier to write the blog than to do a video. I had to wait all these months to get the strength to do so. One of the things that I have to say that absolutely works 100%, 1000% is staying busy. Like I said, time heals all wounds, but how do you kill time? It's not easy to kill time when you're missing them so much. And there is no wrong or right reason why you do so. You just miss them. And you're gonna constantly think about them, especially if you are very, very close to them. They will always be in your mind. Little things will remind you of them, little moments will remind you of them. And if you are living with that person or even that pet, you will remember everything about them, basically, memories and photos and stuff like that. So I just want to say that when you are staying busy, it's going to help you through that process. It's very excruciating the first few days of them passing away, because you would be not in any shape or form or frame of mind to cope with anything. You just want to just kind of be in your private shell, and you want to be crying or bawling your eyes out, and you're going to be living those moments, because how they passed away is another situation. Sometimes you know that it's coming, but you still are not prepared for it. Even though my friend knew that her husband was passing away, she was already going through so much, and then trying to care for him and stuff like that towards his end days, which wasn't much time. Like I said, from the time he was diagnosed, I think it was like almost 6 weeks, and then he was done. So during that time, she didn't even have time to think, right, and to process it. So sometimes that's also the case when you're caring for somebody. You're just caring, and I did the same thing with my cat. I was caring for her for about a week before she was gone, and it's stuff like that. You just go through the motions, and you're doing your best as you can. But one of the things that I want to say, sometimes you feel guilty, and I'm one of them that felt that way, that there was something else that I could have done more to save her. And if that's something that is laying heavy in your heart, I want to say 5 months later, healed and went through therapy and all that sort of thing, I have to say that it was nothing that I could have done differently, even though in my mind I played so many scenarios and tried to think whether there was something that I should have done that I didn't do to save her. And if that's something that's laying heavy in your heart, just know that that was not the case. Their time was up, and no matter what you would have tried or did or didn't do, it wouldn't have changed the end result, because their soul contract was done at the time that it did. So I know that it's something we have a hard time coping and trying to figure out whether we actually did everything correct, and whether we had enough time to just see things through while they were still alive, whatever that may be. I mean, with people, it's a little bit more there's a little bit more involvement. Sometimes you have to figure out their last wishes, and you have to sort out their estates, their wills, what they want to do with their belonging. Is there any particular thing that they wanted done with their belonging? All that sort of thing. That's all part of settling all the orders, right, before they pass. Sometimes they have enough time to tell you what they want to do with everything, and sometimes they don't, and then you just have to do the best and figure things out. So there's many ways that, of course, all these kind of stuff plays, and no matter what, when people pass away, there's always stuff that needs to be done. And it's no different even when you are dealing with a pet. So yeah, I just want to say that staying busy, staying focused is one of the things that is going to totally help you cope with the initial process of losing somebody that was so dear to you. Another thing that, oh, sorry, I didn't turn the notification off here. That was my cell phone. Another thing I want to say is that during this process, if you feel that this is too much for you and you want to, you cannot rule out professional counseling over people that are going to help you cope with it. People can, and I'm not saying that they can, but sometimes you need that extra bit of help in dealing with it. So do take professional therapy, especially if going forward you're watching it. Sometimes, I don't know where you are at your stage, maybe you've just lost somebody that was that special, or you've already lost them and it's been already a few months or a few years past, and you are still feeling there's so many things that you wanted to still uncover in terms of your emotions, why you feel a certain way. I would say therapy does help. I took a lot of therapy, and in fact my psychologist wants to see me again. I haven't had a chance to book with her. I've just been insanely busy, and that's the busy part that I'm talking about. The reason why I stayed busy, and I'll tell you why, and you can find your own reasons why you want to stay busy, is because every time I came home, the whole thing was just really hard, because I had nobody to come home to. So, and that's really, really tough when you have a companion for that long. So yeah, I just kind of kept myself busy and kept my mind occupied. It wasn't easy, because no matter what, you can't fool your mind, but it still is better than resorting to sleeping pills and depression pills and all those kind of things, or substance like alcohol, that kind of thing, which sometimes people do resort to those as well, just because they can't deal with it. So yeah, I just want to say that if you are trying to avoid those kind of things and you're trying to cope in a healthy way, then counseling will definitely buffer some of these, urge to take those kind of substance to let you go through it. Always consult with your doctor about all of that stuff, because there is so many guidance and help that even the doctors can provide. In that sense, they can send you to the right people, have you go through counseling or something like that, that's going to help you cope with it. So I really say that, through my own personal experience, that counseling does help, and you should be taking any type of counseling if you feel, even times forward now, doesn't matter if it's been years, months, or days where you're watching this video, and if you feel that you are having a hard time coping with all of these things, I really, really say that it will work. It will help you to cope with not having them around, and it's still a shock. It doesn't matter. And I also want to add that even pets even pets also sense those kind of things. So if, for example, if it was a person that passed away and you both had a pet, of course pets see, dogs and cats can see, even horses or animals can see and sense spirit. So definitely I want to say that even your pet will miss them and stuff like that. You've seen that in social media, movies, that sort of thing, that even pets miss their owners, or and it's true, they do, and it's not any different. They're going through the same loss as well. So I just want to say that all those things really play a fact. So yeah, look into it. I also want to add, before I forget, that depending on your clairvoyance and your sense of sensing spirits, your loved one will visit you. Some say within a week. I noticed in my own personal journey that is within 3 days. So you could say within 3 days, or give it about a week, they will come and visit you. It doesn't matter who they are. And in my case, when my dad passed away, that was the first time that I had, I was seeing spirit in, through my clairvoyance. And I saw Head and Shoulders on a wall, and it was through a white light. And he came in, Head and Shoulders, once, twice, and 3 times, blinked in and out, and I actually had my eyes open, so I could see that. And of course I validated that through a medium reading down the road when I found a medium. And that was one of the things that I was going to talk about as well. So anyhow, that was them. If your loved one makes a contact to you through clairvoyance, depending, and they have an idea whether you can see them or sense them, or it could be a sense of feeling, touch, or just hearing their voice, that kind of stuff. They will be able to make contact. And if they actually make contact with you via voice, it'll be through something like a TV, or it could be a phone, because they will tap into a radio. They can actually tap into that kind of frequency and actually come through. In one of my medium readings just recently, finally I found a medium that could channel like that. So my dad validated this because he's such a strong spirit. So he could do this where he could turn the TV on and off on his own. And he did that a lot of times. And I sometimes would come down and I would see my living room TV was on, and I'm thinking, how did it get turned on? It's because it was him, right? So that was a nice validation to hear. So that would be something that could happen to you guys. I know that when I did the 72-hour twin flame test, when I was talking to my friend after receiving my third sign and not believing that my twin flame was actually my twin flame, it was midnight, and it was through a landline. So it wasn't through a cell phone. I guess hers was a cell phone and mine was a landline. And I was just talking to her, and I was like, no way, this is can be. And she said, well, I don't know about twin flames, but I know a pair when I see one. So and of course she was very intuitive. She could see things, and she already had seen before him and we connected. She already was talking about him to me and described him. And it was what she was getting told, so it was just crazy. So anyways, so in that phone conversation, of course, my father came through, and I heard his voice very clearly. And it went when the sound was like kind of like that, and it was very loud. And then after that, he came through in his voice, and I knew it was him. And then the phone went dead. My phone went dead, and her phone went dead, because they come through with that frequency, and they do whatever they can, and boom, they're out, right? So you will lose connection. So I want to say that if something like that has happened to you guys as an experience, do let others know in the comments, or tell your stories. I would love to absolutely hear about this, because I think that is really, really fascinating when loved ones from the other side, they make contact. So that was about my father. And then of course my little girl, she also did that. She made contact. I wasn't sleeping. I was and of course she validated that as well in a medium reading. I did get a medium reading shortly after she passed away, just to know that she's okay. I wanted to know if there was anything that I could have done differently during her last days, and if there was any decisions that we made that led her to her passing away. And of course none of that was the case. It was just something that was in my mind, because I was one of those very, very protective parent. She was very, very protected in that 16 years and 3 months that I cared for her. I never ever treated her like a human, as a pet. To me, she was always my daughter, my a human in human form. So I was very, very mindful of her needs and wants and desires, and anything that there were a lot of sacrifices that I did during that time. I was barely going into trips. If there were trips that were done, if I was with my partner, because it was ours when we were married, we made sure that there were people that came and lived with her as her care and guardian during the time that we were gone for our trip. And then, of course, after my divorce, it was much easier. My ex was looking after her, so she was never ever taken to a care home facility or whatever, hostel type of thing, hotel, while we were going on our trips, or while I was going on my trip. There was somebody that was familiar to her that was looking after her. So I just want to say that it was very, very interesting to see her make contact, and I saw a shadow of her around the couch, and I just saw her back and her tail, and I knew it was her. And there was another part when I saw her in a shadow as well, so in the living room. So those were the two times when physically she made contact and I could see her, and she was confirming that aspect in the medium reading. My medium was very surprised that I could even see stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, if they want to reach out to you, of course they will, in any shape or form. And in her case, she did. And the main reason why anybody reaches out to you after they passed away is to let you know, I want you to just sink this thought in, that they are letting you know that they are okay, and that you will be okay as well. So this is the main message that they're giving you, that they are okay and you will be okay. So two things that they are conveying to you. I also want to say that dreams will be very, very huge, because when you go into the REM state and you are sleeping, you actually diminish all the egos. And when I say ego, you are actually in a relaxed state of your body, and you're not analyzing things through a rational point, right? You're just relaxing. Your mind is relaxed, so there's no ego there, there's no doubts there, there's no fear there, there's nothing there. So this is the best time that they can make contact with you, is through dreams. So if you have been dreaming of your loved ones through your dreams, next day try to write down whatever messages that they're giving via your dreams, because there's always something that they are saying to you. And I want to say that if that's something that's happening, you find that you're getting some sort of dreams, write them down. And if you cannot make sense of it, then connect with a medium. That was the next part that I was going to talk about. Getting a medium reading is really, really helpful, because you get a lot of closure. When I say closure, sometimes you want to know not only the fact that they're okay, but whether you made certain decisions, and whether they made the decisions that they should have, whatever that could be. I'm just saying it in a very generic way. And that was all part of the sequence of things that had to happen. So it's a good idea, or you get a very good closure of knowing all that aspect, because sometimes when they pass away, you're not with them, so you don't know what's going through their mind and what had happened. So you want to just kind of know a little bit more on their last days, what were their thoughts and that sort of thing. So this is a very good way of getting that closure. Medium, of course, anybody that's doing a medium reading, they will be talking to you like you and I, like this. They don't use divination tools, so they can actually straight on point channel the spirit, and they can give you whatever messages that you need to know, and you can ask a lot of questions. A lot of them also become your guides as well. That is very, very important as well to know. And if your loved ones have become your guide, you need to know that as well. So sometimes you have an idea, but sometimes it's better to just connect with the medium, to just know that this is actually the case. In my case, my dad has become my guide, and I learned why I was so close to my little girl, and because she confirmed to me that we were from the same soul tribe. So she was actually a soulmate of mine, and I asked her if she was going to reincarnate again, and she said, no, I'm just going to wait for you, and I'll decide after what to do. But she had a soul contract with me to come and live those years with me. So that was interesting to know as well. So look in your local area, or look on the web and see if you can find a medium that can help you get some closure. There's always some sort of closure that you need. Sometimes you don't tell them that you love them enough, or you didn't tell them that you love them, which is so important to also to get. In my case, like my dad, it was good to connect with him that way, because he was not the type of person that would tell you that he loved you, and throughout that entire reading he was telling me that, and vice versa, right? So I'm very much like him in personality, or I was. So I wasn't very affectionate towards him, in the sense that I never really could convey those kind of things properly when he was alive. I mean, we were close, but sometimes you're not that expressive, I suppose you could say. So if that was something that was a relationship with your loved one, you can definitely connect with the medium to just get that part sorted out as well, which is very, very important, I think, for a person to move on, right? I want to also point out twin flames, because like I said earlier, in that there's not many, or I've said that even in my previous videos, there's not too many people that are serving their mission that talk about twin flames that are not in embodiment. And I find that even though they themselves have dealt with something where they are in the same journey as some of you, they still don't know how to convey it. And even though I'm not in that kind of journey, I still think that it's such an important aspect of knowing how to cope with somebody that is on a soul connection with you that has passed away. And usually people that are twin flames, one of the patterns that I found is that they usually do not know that they are their twin flame, or they are in a twin flame, until or after they've passed away. It's because the soul awakening usually happens afterwards, when they have actually passed on, and that's when they get their awakening process, and then they get all those kind of insights regarding their connection, that sort of thing. And when it comes to twin flames, you don't have to be in a physical form to get the benefits of the journey or benefits of a relationship. Some of you also know that even with people that are in separation, you know that you can still have that kind of relationship with them on the 5D level, because you have such a strong soul connection, soul bond, right? So yeah, all of that stuff still is the case when your twin flame has passed away. And they, of course, become your guide, because they are now guiding you, through your twin flame journey. As well as, I want to mention that you start getting some insights on some of your gifts and stuff like that too. They will be telling you many things, and one of the things that you will experience is just them being around you constantly, and you'll feel them, you'll know them, you'll be able to in fact communicate with them like you are communicating with anybody in physical form. So I want to say that that's the case with people that have their twin flames that have passed away. They give you very specific signs and things. I believe you have to go into my blog and just see which ones they are. A common one that I found was cloud formations. Sometimes they will form a living image of how they are. For example, if they will just kind of form a cloud in a shape of their features or something like that, and it'll remind you of that. So that's one of the common signs that I find. People that are twin flames that don't have their other twin flame in embodiment, that would be one of them. It could be through songs. They will convey to you some messages. It could be through certain things that was very, very special to the two of you in your connection when they were alive. So it could be very, very specific like that. I know that with my cat, she had very unique coloring. Even though she was domestic short hair, she had very, very different kind of look. And even when she was that sick, whenever we took her, my ex and I, we shared custody of her. So whenever she was sick, it was always us taking her to a vet or whatever. They used to always comment how pretty she was, and she was a stunning cat. So and I've never seen any other cat that looked like that in her coloring. So yeah, shortly after she passed away, there was this in Canada. For those that are Canadians, you will know which one this is. Tissot is a company that looks after pet supplies and stuff like that. It's a pet store. So once I was driving around and I saw a Yoki and a cat that looked exactly like her in her coloring on a board in just in front of their store. And it was big enough for me to see it, and I had passed by so many times in that area, and I never saw that board ever. And for me to see that, it was like, whoa. It was like deja vu. So I just want to say that that would be another way that they can come to you saying hi. And if they are coming to you in your dreams, I also want to say that they are also conveying to you, there's going to be specific things that they will be doing in the dream, so you want to pay attention to that as well and note them down, and then try to look for dream meanings. But they usually, the general idea of why they're visiting you is because they are just telling you that they're okay, right? And they're fine, they're at peace, and they're happy where they are. So, and that's sometimes very, very important for us to know in order for us to move forward, because we are here and we don't know how life is on the other side. We wouldn't know until we pass away, right? So when spirits actually make connection in that sense, the number one reason is, of course, that they are just telling you that they're okay. And sometimes they'll give you some insights, that sort of thing. If there was something that they want to tell you, you see this in movies all the time, so I won't rule that out, that that's not true. If there's something that you're looking for in the house, or some papers or documents or something of an importance, and you can't find it, it's misplaced, sometimes they'll come in your dream and they'll let you know that this is where it's kept, or this is where that item is that you're looking for. So every scenario is different. I'm just saying that those would be, just be open to anything that you're receiving at this point. Sometimes people connect with mediums to find out stuff like that as well, if they can't find items or things from their loved ones, and it's somewhere kept that they have no knowledge of, and they want to find something, then you can also connect with the medium and they'll be able to tell you where it's kept, especially if during the time that they were alive they didn't reveal that to you. So yeah, I want to say that that's very, very important the three things that we talked about so far was staying busy, taking bereavement counseling. I think that's very, very important, and them connecting with you via signs and things, and also through dreams, and them making contact initially when they pass away. So we covered all that. I want to also mention that in terms of how you can cope with your loved ones is through self-help books. There's lots of books out there that actually let you go past their initial bereavement stage. I did. There was a book that I had read that was from the Secret series of Rhonda Byrne's. She had it had something to do with a relationship with money, people, and your health. And I found that that book was very, very empowering when it came to just me going through that phase, right? So I actually ended up reading it really quickly, which is very unnatural for me with my time frame. I'm just so busy with things, and to find the time to do that, I was glad that I could do that. I also want to add that if you detach from people, you don't want to see people and you want to deal with it on your own, that is a natural process as well. Almost everybody goes through that as well, and your alone time is very, very important during that stage. So, and if people around you do not understand that, you can create healthy boundaries by telling them that you need your time to just kind of process all of these things. So all of that stuff is also important. You can also try connecting to your higher self in terms of finding some sort of closure in any way that needs to be. And I'm just saying it in a very general way, so just take as it resonates with that. Another thing I want to say is you can also try going through some do some volunteering in your local community. This is also, again, staying busy and trying to focus your mind into something positive. Something very tragic, when that happens, how do you turn that into a positive situation is, of course, the challenge, and volunteering would definitely assist you in that. So look into that if that's something that you want to do. It will give you a lot of peace as well, right? You can donate in their name as well. I did that. I donated all her things to the hospital, and they were going to give, including her food, her medication, because they were so expensive, and they were going to use that. Whatever the hospital was going to use, they were going to use, and whatever they were not going to, they were going to donate it to the poor owners that had pets, homeless people, that sort of thing, right? Because homeless people also have pets, so they definitely donated all the stuff to the community, so none of that stuff went to waste. I want to say that you can do the same thing regarding your beloved. If you have their clothing or their items, whatever you want to hang on to as a memorabilia, you can do that, and then the rest you can donate to the poor and the needy, because that's going to make a big difference. You're going to feel a lot better, and I know that their soul will feel much better knowing that they have contributed or their items were helping somebody in need, right? So it's a noble deed to do, and you do that because, yeah, I think that that's very, very important. Sometimes people just want to hang on to everything, and it's not what they would have wanted. So yeah, look into that. If you haven't, volunteer, definitely, like I said, and go through the donation process. Some people also want to feed their they want to feed the temple or something like that, or they want to feed in India, I know that's very, very common, where they will feed the homeless in the some food in the name of them. So look into that in your local community. It doesn't matter what part of the world you are in, you definitely could do that. You could make some food, or do a food drive or something like that, do a collection in their name and then donate it. There's so many ways that you can do stuff like that, and that's gonna really fulfill you on a soul level. So definitely look at that. And that would be also part of staying busy, because now you're doing something as well as staying busy, as well as just honoring their memory, kind of thing. So so yeah, you have you're sort of like killing two birds with one stone. And two things at the end that I want to say before I'm done here is, no matter who it was that you are coping with as part of your bereavement process, you are definitely, after they have passed away, you would be finding yourself once again. And this is the alone part that I talk about, that you can't skip. It's not one of those things that will be easily skipped. So just know that definitely you are going to find answers. You're going to try to find your purpose. You're going to try to find what do you do next. And those are all healthy questions that will come to you naturally. And there is no wrong or right reason why that happens, but it is something that's going to happen. And I just want to say that just go through that process. And then the last part, absolutely important, is how to live without them. And that would be something that will be the process at some point, where you're going to be figuring out how to live your life without them. And I just pointed that out, but how that looks in your journey and your relationship with them is, of course, going to be completely up to your connection with them. And each connection is going to be very different. So I just generalize these kind of point forms. So I want to say that journal some of the things that are coming to you while you're watching or afterwards. And also definitely journal the dreams if you are connecting with them in that sense, because sometimes they do come as your guides. So this was my topic on how to cope up with your loved ones passing away, and I hope that you guys enjoyed my pep talk and empowerment. It took me this long to empower you guys to do something that probably you wanted to do anyways. And if you guys got emotional and you were crying through this segment, I send you lots of healing and lots of love. And with this was Twin Flame Union. Stay blessed.